the touchline here on Y254. We are still discussing many matters concerning sports, and it is been a big week as Kenya prepares to play in the Africa Cup of Nations for the first time in 15 years. And one of the big news stories that came out this week was Coach Sebastian Minye naming his provisional squad that will be playing in Egypt come June. It's a big story here in the country, and we have to talk about the implications of that squad, and is that squad good enough to play in the Africa Cup of Nations. Joining us now is former Kenyan international and FC Leopards and Mathare United former midfielder, Mr. Simon Mulama. Welcome to Y254. How are you doing?
Thank you, my friend. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, Maze.
Thanks for having me.
And Tairus Waiyaki is here with us today. So the team has been named. People have been talking left, right, and center. More so journalists, people like us who have never even played football, have had some serious conversations when it comes to the coach naming his team. What was your reaction when the team was named?
Number one, it was a sigh of relief because everyone was anxious and waiting to see who will be in the lineup in the final list.
Yes.
Of course, we know we have a few names that will be dropped eventually.
Yes.
But everyone was really anxious about it, and so when the list was out, number one, it was a sigh of relief. Thank God we are done with this. Now we know who we are, who will represent us in the competitions.
Yes.
And then when everyone started to pick.
Yes.
In the list, and talking about who is there, who's not there, who should be there. Everyone has their different opinions.
Yes.
And also. Overall, I think I have to support the coach. Yes. And the national team with the decision they have made.
Yes.
I might not agree with some of the names or the omissions.
Yes.
But overall, as a Kenyan and someone who has been in the game, it's my duty and responsibility to support the team.
So, Tairus, for you, what was the reaction on when the coach named the team on Tuesday?
First, I said a very quick prayer of thanksgiving to the Lord because my ex-trainee Ayub Timbe Masika was named as part of the 30-man provisional squad. And I'm still crossing my fingers, hoping he'll make the final cut when it's eventually named and travel to Egypt and fight for Kenya.
Yeah.
Then I took a toothpick like he did.
Yes.
And started picking and seeing the nitty-gritties, the nuts and bolts of who should be there and who shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
Obviously, there was the controversy of the leaving out Jesse Were. But just to clarify for the viewer's sake, there's two Weres. There's Paul Were and there's Jesse Were. Paul Were has made the squad.
Yes.
His face is more familiar because he plays local football. He's got a cheerful, animated character. But the name Jesse Were is more known for his exploits out there. Minye's argument is that the Jesse Were argument is that, or the argument against him is that he plays well out there,
yes.
But when he plays for the national team, he doesn't quite seem to deliver. But
before we go on with that conversation, let's listen in to what the coach had to say during his team naming.
Fair enough.
Yes.
Good morning for all of you. It's an important moment for Harambee Stars because it's the beginning of a competition today. I will announce a provisional squad of 30 names. And on this 30 names, I will keep 26 for the beginning of the preparation and the camp in France. And finally, at the end, we will keep only 33 players for the huge event in Egypt. Okay. Why 30? Because we never know what can happen. I have an idea, of course, of my 26. I hesitate also. There is some games during the next days, and it's better to practice like it And I will add a provisional squad for Shan, because it's also important, because we need to be focused about AFCON, but after it's not the end of football in Kenya, and we will have other competition. It will be so important. I told you when I arrived 1 year ago to be qualified also for Shan, to try to be qualified, and for that I want to concern all the players and all the local players, and you will have a provisional squad of 32 names, and after, of course, I will reduce the list also before the games against Burundi. For the list, 30 names: Patrick Matassi, Farouk Chikalo, John Oyemba, Brian Bouire for the 4 goalkeepers. Only 3 will be in France with me. I can tell you today the young Bouire normally will stay at home, but if we have an injury, we prepare everything in terms of regulation to react immediately. Okay? David Owino, Brian Mandela, Moussa Mohamed, Benad Ochieng, Joseph Okumu, Joash Onyango, Eric Ouma, Aboud Omar, Philemon Otieno for the defensive positions. For the defensive sector, after midfield, Victor Wanyama, Ismael Gonzalez, Anthony Akumu, Denis Odiambo, Johanna Omolo, Francis Kaata, Paul Were, Eric Johanna, Clifton Miezo, Von Izuza. Offensively, Ovela, Ayub Timbe, Michael Olunga, Masoud Juma, Christopher Bamba, John Avire, Alan Wanga. For locals, Farouk Chikalo, John Oyemba, Brian Bouire, Philemon Otieno, Joash Onyango, Benad Oshien, Charles Momani from Gormaya, Michael Kibwage, Andrew Juma, David Ochieng, David Owino, Eric Juma. There is one Juma from Sharks, the captain from Sharks, one Juma, the central defender from Matare. Okay. Roy Okal, Teddy Ozok, Patila Omolo, Denis Odiambo, Ibrahim Shambi, Duke Abuya, Vivon Isuza, Cliff Nyakeya, Kenneth Muguna, Francis Kaata, Samuel Onyango, Paul Were, Abdallah Hassan, Joey Waitera, John Avire, Sidney Lokale, Nicolas Kipkiryu, Piston Mutamba, Alan Wanga, Enos Ochieng from Ulinzi. That's mean 32.
Well, that's Coach Sebastian Meunier. They are naming the 42-man squad, and then he's going to trim it in to the 23-man squad that will be playing for Kenya come June 21st in Egypt. Big squad selection there, Simon, for the coach, and no matter what people will say, at the end of the day, we'll go back to saying the coach knows better.
Of course, and that's why he got the job.
Yeah.
You know, you want to be held responsible for decisions that you have made and not decisions that the people have made for you. And so at the end of the day, he will be held responsible for whatever result we get at the Cup of Nations. If we win, it is kudos to him. If for some reason we don't get the expected results, then everyone will be on his case. So, you know, big squad, understandably. We have a very long time before the competition. Anything can happen, like the coach says. You know, someone can dip in form, and someone that you did not expect can pick up very quick the tactic and the kind of approach we want to have in the tournament. So, very understandably, a big enough squad to make your choice and make your changes before the time.
Tairus, people, everybody, more so journalists in my category, have been talking about why did the coach omit Jesse Were? Why did the coach not go with the experienced Jesse Were? He's scoring in the CAF competitions, but is not scoring for Kenya. The big question will be, can this be like the case of Luis Menotti, the Argentinian coach back in '78? Because in '78, when Diego Maradona broke into the Argentina national team, Menotti did not select him. He said, this boy is young, he's not ready for this big stage of the game. And everybody at home, even the military junta, was like, why is this guy leaving out the brightest kid to go and play for Argentina? Come the end of the World Cup, Argentina were the world champions, and everybody was now saying the coach knew what he was doing. Can this be the case also for Sebastian Minne when we go for Egypt?
I doubt, because in as much as I love Harambee Stars, I'm Kenyan 100%. Both my parents are Kenyan. Harambee Stars are not going to win the African Cup of Nations. Football is a game of surprises and shocks and all that. So I don't think, that's a bit of a tall order comparing it with the Louis Menotti kind of case.
Yeah.
But bringing it back more recently, I think it's a bit like the Luca Toni case.
Yes.
Luca Toni was a brilliant player at club level in Italy, the Serie A. You couldn't stop him scoring. But whenever he played for the national team, he was a very different Luca Toni.
Yes.
He wasn't able to score. So I think that's where Minne is coming from. He's saying, where is a bit of a Luca Toni?
Yes.
Club level, he'll ban them in. Give him the Kenyan jersey, national colors, and he'll fall at the first hurdle.
Yes.
So the argument against that would be, Wanyama is doing quite well for Tottenham Hotspur, but for Harambee Stars, over the last few games, he's not been that prominent. He's not been that good. He's not really uplifted the player morale and the fan morale. So how comes you're putting Were on one pedestal and Wanyama on a different pedestal? How comes you're not leaving Wanyama out? Because he's doing pretty much what Were is doing. Good and efficient for club, but falling at the hurdles for country. Then the argument against that would be, if the coach leaves out Wanyama, then definitely guys will go for his jugular, because Wanyama is like the big thing in Kenyan football. So I sympathize with him on that score.
Yeah. Simon, one player who has been included in the squad who has not been there for a very long time has got to be Francis Kahata. When you look at Francis Kahata, in his time he's playing at club level for Gor Mahia and this time for the national team, what kind of impact will he bring into that Kenyan midfield?
I think he has really improved his game over time. Yeah. He has the creativity. He has a lot of experience playing at a big stage. Yes. You know, Gor Mahia have for about 3 years in a row been playing in the continental level, and Kahata has been playing very well, even in the local competition. So I think the creativity, the kind of player, you know, an argument was that we have lacked a number 10, quote yes. unquote, for a very long time. I think he can play that role very well. You know, he knows how to run into space. He can come back, collect the ball, and build something out of it. So I think the creativity and experience at the top, at the big stage, is what Kahata could be bringing in this lineup. And we really need a player like him, because not so many of our midfielders do play like Kahata does. You know, yes. Majority of our guys, Eric Johanna, plays on the outside, Timbe plays on the outside. So we don't have a guy who comes centrally and picks the balls and plays the rest of the team like Kahata can do. So yes. I think it's a great inclusion. But to talk about Jesse Were, you know, Coach Minne's argument about he doesn't score yes. for the national team, you know, you sit outside and look inside and say, so under you as the coach, how many times has he played yes. and not scored? And then when he does not seem to score, yes. whose job is it to make him do it? Yes. You know, to move, to make the right movement, depending on your style of play. Yes. You know, so it doesn't hold any waters. But like we said, we respect his the coach's decision, and we'll just wait for the competition.
Let's listen in to the coach on what he said about Jesse Were not making it to his squad for the Africa Cup of Nations.
Why maybe another one, maybe the best striker in the league, Alan Wanga. It's the eternal question, you know. And I need to try to think for everything and to harmonize not the best 23 players in my list, not the best 23 Kenyan players, but the best, to try to think about the best group, okay? To harmonize all the players together, to create some association of players, and to be efficient with that. And unfortunately, we already talked about it. JC received 26 call-up already. He never scored 1 goal in national team. So I know he's the best striker in Zambia, but we have also the best striker in Kenya. Okay, and sometimes you cannot compare the level in Zambia with the level in Japan, in Chinese, or everywhere. Or I miss something. If Zambia is one of the best leagues in the world, tell me, but maybe...
Sebastian Minye, they are saying on why he could not have Jesse Were on that team. Away from the squad now, Simon and Tairus, the big question will be, you are going to trim your squad, you have your squad, but now we are going to the Africa Cup of Nations for the first time in 15 years. And our football level has been diminishing for a very long time. Our football level has been going down. While the teams that we were there, let's say in 2004, the teams that we faced there, the likes of Burkina Faso, the likes of Mali, have gone up. What do you make of Kenya's chances when it goes to Egypt?
I'll let him go first.
Yes.
We have a better squad than we did previously. The last 15 years ago, the squad that was there had 0 preparations at best. I remember at some point they played, was it Red Berets or Kawangware United or Securico? Non-professional sides in preparation for the African Cup of Nations. That was completely out of depth, completely out of step. It was just totally rubbish. Secondly, these guys had not been paid. In fact, they went and they were given the flag officially by President Y254, and then it turned out their stomachs were empty. You can't send people who are dying of hunger to war and depend on them to win that war. We made a lot of noise in the media. There wasn't social media those days, so the country depended on us to make the most noise, which we did. And the government, through the treasury, released 30 million Kenya shillings to the squad. It was better late than never, but it was too little, too late. Now, these guys, I think they've been paid so far, or they are going to be paid well before the tournament kicks off. Then there's talk of them going to Europe to prepare for the tournament, which is good enough. In terms of tactics, I think this Minye guy is better than Jacob Gosmule in terms of tactics. Jacob Gosmule would make his substitutions a little too late in the game. This guy he knows what he wants. The problem is the people he'll eventually decide to use to attain what he wants to attain. He has shown independence of thought, but a limited independence of thought. Goalkeepers, he's taken 2 from Kariobangi Sharks. Kariobangi Sharks, we know, is affiliated or was affiliated with the current FKF president, Nick Mwenda. So how independent is that?
That one is not a big deal because the coach can drop them as time goes by. Remember,
already, you see where the smoke is fire. You can see his independence of thought is not 100%. You need 100% independent thought. You've just mentioned Menotti. Menotti said, I'm going to think for myself, I'm not taking Maradona. And he had the vision, and he went and won that World Cup.
No, the question is
different.
Our chances for AFCON, where
our chances lie on selection. You cannot, there's no dichotomy between selection and our chances. Because the troops you have there, finally, the 23-man squad, and even that 30-man squad, their morale, it depends on merit. Are you giving meritocracy a chance? So our chances are going to come down to that. But I think against Tanzania, we stand a chance if we don't underestimate them. Against Algeria and Senegal, we stand a slimmer chance, but we can secure a draw against one of the two and hope to finish second in the group and go on to the next stage, out of the group stages, for the first time in our history.
It's your turn, Sam.
Well, the chance we have, I think it depends with the ambition that we have as a team.
Yes.
We had the president of the federation at some point say that at least if we make it to the second round, that's not perfect, but it's good enough.
Yeah.
Because it's a step beyond what has been done previously, you know. And so for some of us, it's like local coaches got us almost there. We were just a step, you know, behind that. Yeah. So how is it that a foreign coach, you only get us only a step on top of that? You know, it doesn't make any sense. But that said, we have a slim chance of lifting the cup.
Yes.
A very slim chance. We have a big chance of making it to the quarterfinals.
Yes.
You know, because it's not only the first two teams, but also there's a chance for the third team in some of the groups to make it to the second round. So, and when you get to the second round, it's a different ball game. Everyone there's tension in every team. Everyone is nervous. Depends on how fast you control your nervousness and the tension. So anything can happen beyond when you get to the second round and fight for the quarterfinal stage. But I think if we make it to the quarterfinals, that will be it. I do not see us go beyond the quarterfinal stage. And no disrespect to the players and to the coach, but you know, just understanding the kind of team that we have, the kind of players that we have that have come through over the years. I'm not sure if we are set or we are ready to go beyond the quarterfinal stage of the African Cup of Nations.
Well, that is it for the Africa Cup of Nations. It will be coming in June, and we'll be there to tell the boys that they can do it and they can do the best that they can. But tomorrow will also be a big match here in town between Gor Mahia versus FC Leopards at the Kasarani Stadium. It is your former team, FC Leopards, going against Gor Mahia.
Big match, big match. Always, everyone looking forward to that match. Even those that do not support those two teams, because it's a match, it's a meeting that has a lot of history in this country. Man, big challenge. Both teams have lost their last match in the previous match before this match. Gor Mahia and FC Leopards. Gor Mahia have a very good record against FC Leopards, especially the last 6 or 7 matches they have played. Leopards have not been able to go to beat Gor Mahia. But then again, looking on the other side, AFC Leopards feels that they are now stable and they have stabilized. They have brought in some experience in Paul Were and Cheche to stabilize the team. Some of their players that were injured, Robinson Kamura, is now back in the team, in the starting lineup. You know, so both sides feel very good about themselves and what they can do on the field. It's just about the 90 minutes, man.
What do your sources tell you about the new FC Leopards coach? Because the moment he came in, people were saying he's not ready to play in the Kenyan Premier League. But it's now 13 matches, he has lost 2. And the team has come up, had an upward trajectory in the Kenyan Premier League. How are people rating the new coach of FC Leopards?
You know, when you talk to guys close to the team, without mentioning any names, I think some of the experienced guys will tell you that he does a good job bringing the unit together. And that is critical for any team. You can be the best tactician, but if you cannot put your group together and have them play and relate as a unit, you have no chance. You know, and I think he's, from what I've heard out there, he's doing a good job in bringing the guys together, bringing in the chemistry, the cohesion, the love amongst within the unit. And I think that goes a long way to give them the kind of results that they have posted over the last 11 or 13 matches, like you said. So For me, I think he was a good catch for AFC Leopards, where Leopards was at the time.
Yes.
Can they get a better coach going forward? Yes, they can. But I think he was the right person to salvage Leopards from where they were. At some point, everyone was thinking Leopards was headed to the Nationwide League.
Yes.
And you know, that now is not even something to be thought about Leopards. So, like you asked, I think he is. There's a very good word on the street about the coach.
Yeah, the big thing will be, it is a big game that will be there tomorrow. Where do you think it will be won between FC Leopards and Gor Mahia?
It's always a battle of midfield, especially in a derby. So the side that gets to marshal the midfield in this kind of weather is the side that has a higher chance of winning it. And obviously for Gor Mahia, sadly, they were not able to score in their last outing because they've got a few injuries that are plaguing the team. So if they dominate midfield but fail to score, on the other hand, FC Leopards will score and could lock them out of the game or reduce their chances simply to a draw. So after winning the battle at midfield, if Gor do, then they have to score. Because football is not about possession. It's about what you do with possession. FC Leopards, on the other hand, as he said, they've been doing extremely well over the last 11 or so games.
Yes.
So I can see them scoring a goal, even though the chances are a bit harder when it rains for a side that's a bit fleet-footed, like AFC is. But they've just got simply to start the game fast, be a bit patient, and then up the tempo a bit. But the game will be won essentially at midfield and then what you do with possession.
Simon, it's a big one for Gor Mahia because now if they win this trophy, they are going to keep the trophy forever. I think it's another time that it has been done before, was back in the 80s when FC Leopards were dominating and also Gor Mahia was dominating. Gor Mahia dominance. Clubs have been trained. Kariobangi Sharks has come up, but they don't seem to have the endurance to go all the way to the ring. Bandari also the same. Will the rise of FC Leopard be the key to unlock this Gor Mahia dominance in the local scene?
It could be, but also the change in the mindset of the management of the teams.
Yes.
You know, Leopards can have that change and other clubs can have that change. And I'm talking about clubs like Tusker.
Yes.
You know, former Kenya Breweries, where they used to attract the best players in the country and maybe even in the region, but then now they do not because of their policies of payment and all that. Now Gor Mahia can put on the table a salary of 200,000 for a player. Tusker cannot do that. They'll tell you, we cannot go beyond 70,000 or 80. You know, so when there's a shift in the mind so that your club can attract the best players within the country and in the region, because that's what Gor Mahia is doing.
Yes.
When Miguna is the best player in KPL, he ends up in Gor Mahia. You know, when we have a top scorer somewhere, he comes, Baron Okech is best player in Western's team at that season, he ends up in Gor Mahia. And that doesn't happen to most other teams. So when there is a change of the mindset in the management of these teams and try to attract the best players so that we can play good football and get the success and then get the partnerships and more money coming in, maybe we will suppress Gor Mahia's dominance. But seems like Gor Mahia have got it right in terms of recruiting, and you know, every time they step on the continental stage, they gain the experience, they gain the confidence, and when they come back into the Kenyan Premier League, it's just winning and winning and winning. Gor Mahia have played like 6 or 7 matches in a row after, you know, every other day. After 2 days, they have a match. Immediately after they played the last continental match. And they have won quite a good number of those matches, as opposed to FC Leopards. In 7 matches, I think Leopards have only won 2, you know, and tied 2 and lost the rest. So if there's a shift in the mindset at how we look at the teams, how we set up the teams, how we recruit, how we want to generate income and attract players to the team, to the clubs, maybe we'll have someone topple Gor Mahia from the top. But as it stands right now, Gor Mahia have their stuff right. It's going to take some time.
Well, it will be a big match tomorrow, and some of the stakeholders in this match, we are talking about what is going to be happening tomorrow. Let's listen in and hear what these stakeholders had to say as this match will be kicking off tomorrow at 4:15 p.m. at the Kasarani Stadium.
side will have the chance to win a record 18th top-tier title when they come up against perennial rivals AFC Leopards this Sunday at the Kasarani Stadium. The much-anticipated fixture has in the past been marred by hooliganism, a vice that has in recent times decreased as a result of cooperation between stewards and security agencies.
There will be strict security frisking at all entry points. We want to appeal to our fans to cooperate. Frisking is not that we want to know what you are carrying in your pocket, but to ensure your security at the stadium is guaranteed.
Ahead of the derby, the Kenya Premier League has once again warned those keen on causing chaos of persecution.
We want to appeal to the supporters that it is restrictive and prohibitive that we should not invade the pitch. It is against the standards, international standards, FIFA rules, and of course even our own rules that we should not interrupt the match, interfere with the play on, and of course invasion of the pitch.
Gor Mahia is top of the league on 66 points after 30 matches, while Ingwe are 9th on 39 points after the same number of games. 4 other matches.
Well, that match will be happening tomorrow at the Kasarani Stadium. Let's finish with the predictions. Who do you think will win?
I predict a tie.
A tie?
Predict a tie because Gor Mahia, you know, if they get a tie, they pretty much close to winning the league, or they have won the league.
Yes.
You know, so I don't think they'll go out to risk getting scored and then have to fight in the next match to get the league. I think a tie will settle this match.
Yeah. Tairus?
I predict Gor to win 2-1. Just a slim win, 2-1.
That is it for our preview of the Mashemeji Derby and the Africa Cup of Nations. We want to say thank you to Simon Mulama for making it here on Y254. You can also catch him on Channel 1 from 4 p.m. There they will be doing a recap and a review of the Bundesliga because it is the last weekend of the Bundesliga. So be sure to catch him on Channel 1 after game on, where they'll be doing everything about the Bundesliga. When we come back, we'll be talking about the fan zone and what has been happening all over Europe. But for now, it is Jamal with the upcoming boxing elections. Enjoy.